Hi, I'm Jeff Benton, Chief Technology Officer of Retail Software Solutions. And today I want to talk to you about the store setup for the TAMMS point of sale system. As you can tell, I've already accessed TAMMS terminal and selected my store, and now I'm going to log in. When you would log in and you want to make changes to your store setup, you need to make sure that you're at a high security level, preferably a level 8 or higher security level. This would be equivalent to a store manager or possibly a district manager or the owner of a store or chain of stores. The store setup screens are all going to be located in the maintenance menu, option 3. And then underneath option 3, it's going to be option H for our store setup screens. We're only going to go through the first store setup so that we can give you a general understanding of what the information is. So, as we start up, this majority of the information here are things that you can set. So, store number, this is going to be an internal number. It's also going to be used in your product inventory. So if you create a new SKU and it's not a real UPC or EAN SKU, it's just something you made up, and you decide to utilize the what we call gen SKU. So the system's going to make it up for you. Gen SKU is going to use the first, or is going to use a store number as a prefix to your UPC code to identify where that SKU was generated if you have multiple stores. So the store name, and this information does show up on the receipt, is going to be identified here. You'll notice that in this particular case, we use this little squiggly mark. So there is a significance to that, and it deals with our electronic data interchange purchasing system. That is for a later tutorial. That is an add-on package, but it allows us to order product from distributors like Ingram Books and Ingram Entertainment, AEC, and some of the select different vendors. And then when that product is shipped, they send us product information in the form of a EDI ANSI X12 format. We process that so that when you receive the box from UPS, all you need to do is go into the receive ASN screen in our inventory system and scan that UPS barcode label, and it will automatically pull the information that's inside that box and pre-populate your inventory with the quantities that you should have received, product titles, descriptions, and product costs that you paid for those items. And then it also gives you the opportunity to roll the shipping costs that you paid into the average cost of your inventory items. So that's what the little squiggly mark does, is it identifies this information to the right of it as the store number that is being used by the EDI system. So again, here's your store phone number, fax numbers, and then you have this thing called a business cycle. This is something you cannot change. So our system uses business cycles as opposed to business dates. So when you run a report, it will operate based on dates. And so if you say, I want to run a sales report for January 2nd to January 3rd, it's going to produce a report for you for those 2 days. If for some reason you operate a store that does not close until after midnight, then the sales for that time that happened on that next following day is actually going to be rolled into the previous day's sales, and that's based upon a business cycle. So a cycle is when you open your store, there's a function and you say open store and you give it the starting cash for that store, and that's going to increment your business cycle. In this case, this store has been opened 5,279 times. At the end of its day, when they close it, it's going to close down and it's going to have a date, or it'll have an ending date, and that ending date could be in the future. It could be into the next day, it could be into the next 3 or 4 days, but that cycle is going to be every sale that happened during that date, that cycle range, that 1 day cycle range, is all going to show up together. Again, it's primarily for the stores that are open past midnight, maybe open till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning on a Friday and Saturday night. You'll notice that the system logged me out because I was inactive. It will do that after 5 minutes of inactivity. That is a rule that is set up by the payment card industry, and it's just something that we have to follow as we do take credit cards. We have to be certified for that. So I'm going to log back in, and we'll go back into that menu. Again, maintenance, H, store setup. Okay, so here's our address information. This is going to be our tax rate. In this particular case, we're in Texas, specifically in Dallas, and this, or in this case, Frisco. This tax rate is 8.25%, so it's put in as 0.0825. Tax entire sale, yes. So if you answered no, then it's going to figure up your taxes, your sales taxes, based on individual line items as opposed to the entire sale. We get into more of that in a tax tutorial. Taxing trades, you typically want to say yes on that unless you have some special circumstances within the laws within your area. In some cases, you can issue a trade, meaning I'm going to trade you 2 used items for one used item that I have in my inventory, and it's going to be an even dollar swap. So the example is, you're going to buy 2 items from me for $4. I'm going to give you something free for $8, and it's going to be $0. Not many states or municipalities allow for that anymore. Next SKU number is, again, a system generated number. It's just going to auto increment as it's creating new SKUs. You can see that the 48658 is the part of the store number that I was talking to you about. Next, invoice number. These are not really sequential numbers because the last 2 digits also identify the register that the invoice was generated. But if you're looking down the invoice list, you can see how they progress. This is a default starting cash value. In other words, how much cash you have in your drawer when you start the door. This value is a default. It'll prompt you for that value every time you open your store, but it also gives us allows us to tell you how much money you should be depositing at night. You can say that we want to print messages on receipts. Pretty much all of this is pretty understandable. Primary register allows us to identify what point of sales machine can open the store. That would be the primary register. You can do print buyback messages. So basically, when you're selling something, they can automatically print something that says, "Hey, if you bring this back within X number of days, we're going to give you a bigger discount or a better resale or buyback value on that item." Just the idea is you're getting it out and trying to get it back quickly. You can do gift receipts so that it prints up multiple receipts without pricing information, but allows you to utilize the barcodes on the gift receipts to return items. Again, tax calculation net, we'll have to go into that into a tax seminar. The clean customer names is a utility that looks at the information going into the customer, so it identifies that there's no special characters like a ampersand in the customer name, which screws up credit card machines, or there's no I don't know. There's different types of special characters that you may not want. The clean customer names will take care of that. The other things that you see down here, edit allows you to edit any of this. So if I press that, I can go in and do the edits. I'm using my mouse in this particular case, so these are hot buttons that are down here. F4 message allows me to change the receipt message that is being printed on the at the time of sale. I can do a tax message, so I can put some information on there about tax information. I can, if I want to, I can put in a special buying message. So if there's a transaction on the receipt where I'm buying from the customer, I can put additional information on the receipt. And if I'm renting product to individuals, I can also put a special rental information that's going to either go on the receipt, and possibly even if you're depending on the credit card machine that you're utilizing, could also be prompted on the credit card machine, so that the customer has to sign the credit card machine to approve the information. That's not available with all customers. It's based on a customer size type environment. So this is the first of the store setup screens. As you can see, there are multiple store setup screens, and we'll go through each one of those at a later date. Thank you.